Hey technicians, it's Jen from Draftline, and I am here to give you the startup video for Leaders Beverage in Chicago. We are so excited to have your team on board with Draftline because you guys stand for all the same things we do, and that's great beer. So, you will receive in an email a packet from Rebecca that has your login information and your password. We need you to go to either the App Store if you have an iOS device or the Google Play Store. Search for Draftline Smart System like you see on this screen. It should bring it up on the App Store or Google Play. You download it to your device, and we want you to click OK on both the notifications that are going to pop up. One is enabling us to basically send you SMS, text messages, and notifications through Draftline to your phone, which are very handy because they're going to pop up on your screen if you have a new service trip or an installation or new line cleaning, and it will alert you. And the second one is your location services, so we can track where you were when trips were being done for a whole bunch of reasons. So basically, you input your email address and password for your login, and that's going to take you to your list of trips. And for today, I just did an example. This is for Martin, and it's one line cleaning. If you go by date when the rest of you guys log in and click on the little calendar icon and go to the 25th and click OK, that will take you to the 25th on Monday, and that's where you guys are going to have your trips. Martin doesn't actually have one on that day. So for the example, we're going to just click on it, and it's going to open up to the overview page. And at the top of the screen, you should have, this is generated by Google Maps, the photos, so don't blame me if it's a crazy one. Sometimes there are. You're going to see a location, photo. You're going to have the directions, and you can get directed from there. The date of the trip, that's preferred time, which, as we know, can change, and the task, which is line cleaning. You can swipe to call and be let in the building. Some locations right here where it has the task description, they're going to have codes for you to get into coolers and different things like that. So be on the lookout for those because we saw a lot of those on the upload documents. You can also see who is assigned to each trip. Some of these trips are going to have multiple technicians assigned. When you see this little icon, oops, I just blocked it, the little man next to Martin, that means he is the foreman for the job, and he's going to be responsible for the checkout options, which we'll get to at the end of this trip. So for an Apple or iOS device, you are going to navigate from the bottom of the screen. For an Android device, it's the same bar, it's just at the top of your screen. And that's really the only two differences. There's a couple other visual differences, but not functionality. So we are going to go to the tasks bar, which is at the bottom of the screen, the circle with a little check mark. Click on that. First thing we like to have everybody do when they get to the location, and I'm just realizing I showed all you guys this before, but now you're going to have to do it for yourself, so you might pay more attention, is that when you get to the location, you are going to check in. And that's by tapping on the account like we just did, going past the overview page, going to tasks, and clicking on that little green circle. And that automatically checks you in. So you do that before you unload your supplies and get into the building, because we like to have a really good time accounting for how long that service should actually take. And it's not, oh, once I get in and get set up. It's when you hit the parking lot. So, safety first guidelines, because we always want you wearing your gloves and your goggles. An ounce of prevention equals a pound of cure. And we're going to hit the little gray circle icon, which is your line cleaning checklist. And right now it says no work because we haven't done anything yet. So you click on that. This is a glycol system. And first four steps, whether it's recirculation or static, are always the same. On the recirculation, you click that because I know that you guys recirc everything. And if you happen to perform an acid cycle, then you will click acid as well. But for the purpose of this, and most of the time, it's just going to be regular maintenance and recirc. And you're going to click the check mark box. And that's going to take you back to your tasks page. You then go to faucets. And again, for Leaders Beverage, because you guys are all so cool, you are cleaning all the faucets. So you're just going to apply to all. And this is just the steps that you go through when you are disassembling, soaking, brushing them off, looking and seeing if any washers or O-rings need to be replaced or if any handles are loose. Put it back together. Thank you. And to record all these, you're just going to save with that circle and checkbox. And now, online cleaning is almost always going to say partially completed because you're not going to do all the options. You're not doing recirc or a static clean and, an acid clean every single time. So for that to say partially completed is totally fine. For faucets, typically it's 100% of the time going to say completed because you're cleaning all those. Now, to scroll over at the bottom of the screen and looking at notes, this is where you can add notes back to the dashboard. Typically, over the first several cycles, you're sending a lot of information to us back to the dashboard through this, and we're monitoring those real time. Well, mostly real time as they come in, depending on how late you're working or how early. You can also add photos here. We love to have photos of crazy looking beer systems. I will tell you that. I kind of collect those. You can choose photos from your camera roll. So for instance, if you are in a walk-in cooler, that is also known as a Faraday cage and no radio waves or whatever kind of signals, they can't penetrate through those metal walls. So if you want to take a photo while you're in the walk-in, which it's pretty cold, so usually nobody does, but you can add it from your camera roll. So you can choose a photo and add it here and send that back to us. And this is a great way to communicate with us. It saves the notes to each trip, and it is a really nice accounting of what went down at that particular line cleaning or service. So, and then you just hit the little paper airplane there at the end, and that shoots it off to us. And many times there's back and forth from the dashboard. We're responding to you, you're responding back to us. Now, system. This is where we're going to track our brands. And you guys, this is not going to be that difficult for you. However, you may have accounts that have just an ostentatious amount of faucets, and you may need help. So what I want you to do, if there's, say, 20 to 25 or more faucets at a location, we want you to take photos, and we want you to either email or text us those photos or write down on the route change sheet what the brands were on the first couple rotations so we can get them in. Once we accept the brand changes here, you're going to see, say, New Belgium Fat Tire, Miller Lite, Coors Light, Budweiser, Bud Light, Sierra Nevada. It won't be faucet 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 anymore. So to edit those brand changes from this screen, you're going to take your finger and swipe left. And you're going to hit the little icon. And I had started to type in New Belgium here. I have a spelling error, but we fixed these on our side. And we really like to have the distributor, if that information is available to you and you know it, pop it in. If we need to have a note of any other kind, like a coupler is broken, something, we prefer that in the big notes, but we can also make a note here that part of, needs a new ID handle, whatever. So you are just going to click OK, and that's going to send it back to us. And so you're going to do this for every faucet in each location on your first cycle. When you get to the second cycle, which is after 2 weeks, and all the brands are actually updated, and you see their names, when you go back the next time, you're only going to update the ones that have changed. So the amount of information you're putting into the mobile application is going to instantaneously drop by 90% on that second go around. So unless the brand has flipped or changed, you don't need to change it. And you'll be able to read down this list and say, okay, faucet 2 is now, Miller Lite. Oops, if I can spell. Okay, and you send that back, we get the request, and we update everything. So that's how you go down the list and change your brands. Now, we are, in some cases, going to track drive time. And this is a little intricacy that we're going to have to get into after we get started and get you rolling on the basics. But this is going to be under the payment page. And we have a separate check-in and check-out here for your day, and also distance or drive time. So that's a down the road, probably a month, 6 weeks, we'll start to get into that. I just want you to know it's there. We are not going to be tracking parts, so you don't need to use the plus sign. But what we would like to capture is the signature page. So you just hit the pencil. We're going to say Jen, success, and we're done. And that's going to send back to the dashboard and just be a nice record when you go into the location to capture a signature. So we go back to the tasks page and we have completed everything. So once you're up to speed, technicians, this is going to literally take you 25 seconds to complete all of the steps tops, because you don't even have all the steps on here. Once we add service, which again will be after the first 1 or 2 rotations, you're going to have more circles here with more options. And there'll be options for checking air-cooled, direct draw, or glycol systems. That'll be 1 circle. But we have all the system builder information in there. So we can assign those checklists very easily to you. And you can communicate back with us if we have any errors on upload. So for instance, if you go into Beer Bistro Lakeview and it's not a glycol system, it's a direct draw, we want you to tell us so we can get it fixed right away, and it'll be updated on the next point of service, or while you're there, we'll update it. Little errors like that can happen when we're condensing all the information, though I don't expect to see many of those in this instance. But if there is an error, you just let us know. Everything can be fixed. Anything you do on here, if you think, oh, I sent that Brandon, that's not the right one, you send us a note or a text, and you're going to have everybody's contact info. Do not hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions, because we can log in and see the exact screen you're seeing. So we can help walk you through each and every step. And you guys are all so young. I'm not really worried about you not getting a mobile application, so I don't see that being a problem. But if you do need any help, that's why we're here. We're here to support you and make you a success. Now, once you have finished your service, you've entered all your brands, you've done all this, you get everything back in the truck. If it's downtown Chicago, I don't know, you're going to be walking 6 blocks. You load up your supplies, and then you're going to check out. When you are the foreman, like Martin is on this particular trip, you, upon checkout, will receive this pop-up. Completed, self-explanatory. Partially completed, you got half of it done, you need to go back and do the other half another day or the next day. No work performed. Now, this, again, I don't see really happening with your customer base because they're so intense on their beer quality, but if you show up to a location and they turn you away for whatever reason, you were there to do the work, but they wouldn't let you finish what you wanted to do, that is no work performed. Cancel. Again, I don't see a lot of these happening with Leaders Beverage, but this would be closed for the season and we need to take it off the route, or they have no gas in the system, something like that, that is, this service isn't happening and we're just going to pick it up on the next rotation. 95 to 98% of the time we want it to be completed, and that's it. And that's going to pop you back to your overview page. And if it's a normal day, you're going to have, more trips that are here below the Beer Bistro Lakeview. But again, if you guys have any questions, we're here to support you on the cloud, and we really look forward to working with you. Good luck, and make sure you download the app this weekend, log in, and take a look at your route. Let us know if you have any concerns, and we'll be talking to you next week. Thanks so much, team. Take care.